Hello, people, and welcome to the first episode of Box to Box Babes on the Football Terrace. I am so excited to do this show. I'm so excited to give women a platform to talk about football, and I can't wait to see what this show brings. So, without wasting any more time, let's bring in the ladies. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you all? You good?
Good.
We're good.
Amazing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so excited for this. Guys, before we go, just make sure you hit the like, subscribe, comment, share this, do it all. This is going to be a special one. So let's just introduce the girls. First of all, I've got a fellow Tottenham fan with me. He's going to be backing me all the way. I've got the queen of Twitter, got Mel with me.
Hi, guys.
I've got the amazing, passionate, fiery, you've probably seen her on her own channel. It's Mary from She Devils.
Hey, so excited to be here.
To represent every single person, every single fan of a club that is outside of the top six, because we need a bit of representation. I'm sick of hearing about the same teams. We've got the lovely, beautiful Kendall.
Hi.
So, girls, we've got a lot to speak about today. I'm just going to throw it out there and say that I've been bored. I've been so bored. International football, I'm not going to get into it. It's not been great. So I'm going to rewind a little bit further and go back and talk a little bit about the transfer window. Mary, Manchester United. Talk to me. Have you been panic buying, or are you happy with what you've done?
Absolutely panic buy FC. What a shambles. A shambles from top to bottom, upside down, inside out.
Oh. you got yourself on mute, Mary.
Do I?
Yeah, oh, there we go. That's better. Go on. There you go.
So it's a shambles. We're panic by FC from top to bottom, inside out, back to front, upside down. We bought two kids, one not coming till January, one not ready even for the first team. Ollie said it today. He's one for the future. So we went all out for Sancho, didn't get him, and didn't look like we got anyone to replace him. Bought Cavani, 33-year-old, injury prone, bought him on the last day, an absolute panic buy when we could have bought him in January when he was free if we really wanted him. Tellez, I'm excited about. I am excited about him because Luke Shaw really, for me, isn't good enough. Rubbish left back, in my opinion. And we didn't get a centre back, and we got Donny van der Beek, who can't get into the starting lineup against a struggling, absolutely in the dirt Paul Pogba. So, I mean, it's just an absolute disaster. It has been all summer. It's just shambles FC, really. Not happy with it. I'd rate it at about a 2 out of 10. It's been shocking.
So if we look at Jadon Sancho, you didn't get him. However, normally in football, if you don't get a player, you go out and you get the closest thing to, or you were clearly getting that player to fill a position, to plug a hole. However, it seems like you said, you've gone out and you've bought some young wide players, but they weren't getting the starting team. So Cavani, where does he fit into the system? Do you see him fitting into the system well? Are you happy with? It seems like it may have been a replacement because you couldn't get Sancho. What do you think about him?
A panic buy. I mean, you need to have width and you need to have wingers. You need to cross balls in. We do none of that. Now, we bought Tellez, who got 12 goals and 10 assists last season at fullback. Unbelievable. Great crosser of the ball, very good going forward, good dribbler, good at set pieces, but we don't really score many headed goals. So for me, Cavani is a replacement for Igalo because, I mean, the quicker January comes and he goes, the better. Not of the quality we need. Cavani will be a decent player, but like, I mean, it's not good enough really. So we went from Sancho to Cavani. Like Cavani 5 years ago, maybe. Cavani now, he'll like you said, plug a gap, but not good enough really overall.
I just want to talk to Kendall because you guys are obviously playing each other this weekend, and fresh after a transfer window, if a team that, say, Tottenham play in have a bunch of new signings, you're usually quite scared. They've come in, they're hungry, they're ready to go. However, the back of a transfer window where Man United have made signings, and it somehow seems like the best time ever to play Manchester United, doesn't it? How do you feel going into this weekend?
I actually feel like for once in time, because like when we play United, obviously we beat them at home last year. Matty Longstaff scored the winner, and that was like amazing. But normally, like obviously, Man United are a team to fear. But now I could not be more grateful that we're actually playing them right now, like as opposed to like right this current time, because obviously Ollie's under pressure. Pogba's like being under pressure by the media. Harry Maguire's under pressure. So right now, especially when we've got obviously players like Saint Maximin who can drive the ball forward and are very creative, is the greatest time to play defence like Man United's currently. So I'm quite hopeful going into this weekend.
I just ask Mary in regards to the transfer window. How do you feel about United not getting Reguilon? Is that a player you wanted, or was just the buyback clause not worth it for you?
I wanted him initially, but the buyback clause for me was a no. I think it, like personally, for a big club, I don't think you should accept a buyback clause. And I think he's an excellent player. I mean, he was voted the best left back in Spain, but a very expensive loan in my opinion, because if he does well, he is going to go back to Real. I don't think, look, for Tottenham, maybe you would accept that for Man United. Absolutely not. I think Telles is equally as good. So I'm quite happy with Telles. But the minute I heard about the Reguilon buyback, it was a no for me. I didn't want him.
I think that there'll never be a problem attracting the players to Manchester United because you are Manchester United. You know, players will always want to come and play at Old Trafford. They'll want to play for whatever manager, even if it's a shambles. They'll want to come and play to put the shirt on. However, at the minute, it seems like the players that are already there don't want to play for Manchester United. And whether that's a problem with the board, the manager, the players, who knows? It does seem like the transfers that you've done, possibly compared to transfers that maybe you should be doing, it's not on the same wavelength. I just want to bring in Anita. Hello,
Yes.
Anita.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm loving the whole Newcastle Man United dynamic going on.
Well, not for much longer. I would like to talk about Chelsea. I would like to talk about £200+ million. Now, for me, you've got to be challenging, winning a domestic trophy, making out of your group Champions League. You have to be securing top four. You have to be doing a lot. Do you think you have it in you as a club? Frank has it in him as a manager. Do you think these signings that you and the business that you've done are going to come in and secure you those things?
100%. I have no doubt in my mind. I don't think a domestic cup just yet, because we had our chance and we blew it with Tottenham. Fair play, Melissa, whatever. But yeah, we had our chance with that. I don't think we'll probably bag the FA Cup. We might get to the final again like last year, but again, I just don't think that we're prepared to take it all the way with a cup yet. But I genuinely think top three and making it out of our group stage and possibly getting to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, that is the barrier that we are aiming to reach at the minute. And next season, then we can talk about winning like the Premier League or like winning like the FA Cups, the Carling Cups, and getting to semi-finals or even finals or Champions Leagues. But for now, my expectations haven't really shifted much. I'm just hoping for a top three finish and maybe a final.
Now, we obviously know that Abramovich isn't scared to do what he needs to do when you're not performing. Do you think with spending so much money, the pressure was on Lamps anyway? Do you think now the pressure is 10 times more? And if he does not perform, he will go. Now, I understand the legendary status and that will come into account, but the pressure for me is mounting up. Literally, his favourite player mounting up on him. What do you think?
I'm so done. Listen, I don't think there's any pressure. I genuinely don't think. I feel like a lot of rival fans want there to be pressure, and I don't get why. Like, I don't think there's a lot of pressure. I think we had a transfer ban in season 1. We got to a final, and we got fourth in the Premier League against all the odds. This season, he's got like 6-7 new players in. So then it's like, how can he be expected to make something work out of those players? Like, I know in the past we've seen a lot of our managers get sacked because they couldn't make it work and stuff. But again, the legendary status, it does play into it quite a bit, because he can literally walk in and say, well, I've won you a Champions League before. I've won you an FA Cup. I've won you a Premier League. I've won you the League Cup. What more do you want from me as a player? I can instill that winning mentality into our boys that we've got now. So I think the legendary status gives him an extra year to perform, but definitely after next year, Abramovich is going to be looking at him like, what's next? Like 100%. But this year, no pressure, man. The pressure is just to get the team working together and getting as far as we can.
I don't know, Anita, because that United, Ollie's under massive pressure as a legend, and he's won us the Champions League. So I don't know, maybe it's different with Abramovich, but he wields the axe quicker than Woodward and the Glazers. So I think
very true.
Lamps will be. He will have to. Third, I don't think is good enough for Chelsea, not after spending all that money. Obviously not a league, I don't think, but I don't think his legendary status, because I see it at United, and if the fans start turning on him like they're doing with, obviously, Ollie, we're worse, we've been way worse, but if he doesn't start getting those results, I'm not sure the legendary status will count for much.
I don't know, only because, I think with Ollie, it's a whole different ball game. With Ollie, he came into the job with a bad record for managing clubs anyway. He's coming to a club with not a great record. And it's like, no offense to Man United, I don't see a style of play. I don't see any direction. I think Ollie, he looks very clueless. That's just my opinion on Ollie and Man United. I think Ollie, he already has the players that can contend easily for top 4, that can contend for Champions League, go as far as the semi-finals in the Champions League. He's got those players already. So it depends on Frank, really. I think the situation is a bit different, because with Frank, we see a style of play, we see what he can bring. His first season in a Premier League, he gets us top 4, and it's the circumstances also. We had a transfer ban. We've had several new players come in as well. Ollie, he hasn't really had several new players. He hasn't been given that luxury to get the players that he wants in the club, like Jadon Sancho, obviously, like he wanted and stuff. So I think it's not only Ollie with your issue as well, it's your board as well. So your board ain't giving Ollie the players. So that's why there's more pressure on him than I'd say on Lampard at the minute.
Anita, looking at the signings that you've made, which one do you think you needed to make the most?
Thiago Silva.
Yeah,
straight in there.
You didn't even need to finish the sentence. Thiago Silva, please. When I have been crying all last season about our centre backs. Even though he's 36, I'm telling you, the difference is gonna be so mad. Like I'm so grateful for Thiago Silva.
He's actually 36.
He's 36, yeah. He brings in so much discipline in the back already, and I'm just like, I needed this.
Yeah, we need that.
Honestly. No offense, Tottenham kind of
I just want to talk very quickly about Timo Werner. How do you think he's started the season? Because I've got him in my fantasy, and he's given me nothing. He's given me absolutely nothing.
I binned him after 2 weeks.
I binned him.
What's going on? What is going on?
Take him out of your team. Take him out of your team until all our players are fully fit and everyone's playing in their right position. Just just take him out of the team. I expect big things from him, but only with him playing as a number 9 or playing right behind a number 9. I don't see all the left wing back situation that we're having with him at the minute. I'm tired of it. I'm not saying it doesn't suit him, but when he goes left wing back, he reminds me of Eden Hazard a lot. And we don't need another Eden Hazard. We need a number 9. And when Frank Lampard starts playing him as number 9, then we can start putting him back, because I think he's going to kill it.
Well, it's not a service problem at Chelsea, so I don't think there should be any excuses going further into the season. Let's move to Mel and Tottenham. Gareth Bale. I don't know about you, but even if I wasn't a Tottenham fan, I would be so gassed to see Gareth Bale back in the Premier League. He is such a talented footballer. Seems like a top guy. And him linking up with, we're going to talk about the strongest attack in the league a bit later on, but him linking up with Son, Kane, having service from Lo Celso and Dombele, for me, he's going to shine. How excited are you, Mel?
Oh, I am over the moon, honestly. As I've said before, we've waited 7 years for this day. 7 years of denial. I think it will be interesting to see how he does gel with Son and Kane, considering Kane and Son have already been on fire at the start of this season. The only looming worry I have is the injury thing.
Yeah.
If he can stay fit, I'll leave that for the later discussion about the attack, but let's just hope he can stay fit. So
I feel like with Tottenham, for me anyway, it's been a wicked window. We've plugged holes that we were desperate to plug. I think that Matt Doherty coming in, obviously, well, to be fair, Aurier didn't have a bad game last game. He had a really good game. But before that, we all know it's a little bit hit or miss with him. I feel like with the signing that we've literally just made as well, I think that it's a season where we have really, really plugged issues. Do you think that there can be anything less than a trophy for Jose Mourinho this year?
If we don't have any hammering injuries, no excuse.
Yeah.
At all.
100%.
When we were contending in 2015, 16 and 17, I know it's one of the biggest issues we had. We had a great starting 11, but we had zero depth.
Yeah.
Now I feel like we genuinely have 2 strong starting 11s, and I don't think there's any excuse to have 2 starting 11s that are good enough to fight on all 4 fronts.
Yeah.
There's no excuse to me.
Now I'm a bit not bitter, but because we've made a great second striker signing, but there was rumours of Callum Wilson coming to Tottenham in the early stages of the window. That didn't happen. Kendall, what do you think of him so far?
He's improved us massively. We've been crying out for like a number 9 for years. Obviously, last season we had Joe Linton as a number 9. He's not a number 9. Any sort of football fan from literally grassroots to Premier League knows that he is not a number 9. They can literally see that if they watch him play for 10 minutes. So, like last season, we struggled massively up front. So for him to come in, he's a typical classic number 9. Obviously he's linking back up with Fraser. Oh, there's my ring light gone off. I knew it was going to do that. He's linking back up with Fraser from Bournemouth, and like when he first signed, he said like Fraser and Wilson equals goals. So obviously he knows he's going to get the service there. Knows he's going to get the service from St. Maximin, Shelby in midfield. So for me, he's someone that, well, maybe since Rondon, but we only had Rondon on loan. Like we haven't had a number 9 like that for a long, long time. So, and it's already shown that like he scored 4 in 4. So we can't complain at all on that front, especially last year when we were struggling so badly.
Is he going to bag this weekend against Manchester United?
Depending on Bruce Boy's tactics, God, we all know what they are, non-existent. He's not a tactician, so what hope do we have? But yeah, if obviously St. Maximin plays, I think he's got a good chance to score. Maybe he's a couple. That might be me being hopeful. Probably it now, but yeah, fingers crossed.
Now we've had, considering circumstance. No, you don't think so? No goal from Callum Wilson.
No,
Well,
they're not
if
going to
Harry
score. We're going to
Maguire's
hammer them.
exactly. Harry Maguire, is he going to play?
No.
Even if he does play, is he able to stop Callum Wilson from scoring? I don't know. He looks good, and I think he will be a very, very good, effective signing for Newcastle this season. Now, talking of effective signings, I wanted to talk about who we each thought would be our predicted most effective signing into the Premier League this season. Now, we've had a crazy last few months, and considering COVID and whatnot, over £1 billion spent in the Premier League. We've had some crazy big names come in, and I want to hear from each of you who you will think, not necessarily who will score the most goals, who is going to be in their respective teams the most effective signing and why. Now, I just want to throw a couple of options out there. I definitely think that you've got to look at people who have the two main signings that have gone into Villa. Ollie Watkins, they had a problem scoring goals last season. I feel like Ollie Watkins is going to come in and solve that. And they had a problem keeping goals out last season. And Martinez is going to come in and solve that. And I feel like whether they are going to do well or not, Villa, those two signings will be so key for them. Mary, let's come to you. What do you think?
Absolutely. Like Villa, and they kept Jack Grealish. For me, that's probably their best signing at the summer. Their captain, massive. We were in for him for 80 million. One of the best players in form currently in the Premier League. So for me, he's probably their signing of the summer. For me, I can't believe I'm actually going to say Liverpool player, but Thiago, they got a Thiago Alcantara, and I would have absolutely loved him at United. We were in for him again. The board failed us, but they needed strength and depth in that midfield, and he's won everything in the game. Man of the match in that final for Bayern. Unbelievably talented, deep lying central midfielder, and for me, it was the difference between them not winning the league, because I didn't think they would, and then the minute they signed him, I thought they're retaining it again this season. A big improvement for their midfield for Liverpool, unfortunately.
I think that's a lot coming from a United fan, definitely. Kendall, what do you think?
See, I can be totally and completely unbiased right now. I can be so fair because it's definitely not going to be ours. So, personally, for me, I think probably James Rodriguez for Everton. I think he's going to be he's already shown that him and Calvert-Lewin together, unreal. I think Everton are going to have such a good season. Obviously, they used to be pretty decent, and then the last couple of I would say maybe 2 or 3 years, they just haven't kicked on as much as they probably would have liked to. They've got an unbelievable manager in Ancelotti, so I think that he will bring out the best in Everton. I really do think Everton will do really well this season.
I definitely think it could have gone either way with James Rodriguez. He could have come in and shone or flopped. And fortunately for Everton, it looks like he's shining. So very, very effective so far. Anita, now you've got a few to pick from for your own team, but is there any other teams?
Do you know what? It's so much because I really can't think of an effective signing from my team. I think they're all really effective. So I won't really say much for my team because I think they're all equally effective. I think, I don't know, I think Gareth Bale coming back to Tottenham is bigger than we think because he's someone with a winning mentality now. And that's going to be so important for Tottenham because that's something that they've missed for quite a while now. Even though they've got Jose Mourinho, obviously he's a winner, but when you've got Gareth Bale there as well, that's how many Champions Leagues has that man won? And he's been crucial in almost every single Champions League final he's played in. So I think that is really important. I also think the same, James Rodriguez, my goodness. For Everton, because of him, they will definitely contend for that top 4 slot. And obviously Ancelotti as well being a significant, amazing manager. This is me trying to shoot my shot with him when Frank Lampard gets fired. I miss him. But yeah, James Rodriguez and definitely Gareth Bale for Tottenham. I think that's going to be massive. Because I love Gareth Bale. I just want to watch him.
Sometimes people forget the effectiveness that individuals can have off the pitch, just in the club in general. Mel, what do you think? Who are you thinking?
I also agree that James Rodriguez is going to be massive for Everton. I think the top 4 should be very scared of Everton, breaking that established top 4 or top 6. But also, I do think it's when it comes to effective signings, it's not just about the quality of the player. It's about the teams that signed him and how much, they needed that type of player. I feel like such a traitor saying this in a Tottenham shirt, but I'm really proud of this Partey signing at Arsenal. I really am. We saw what he did at Anfield in the Champions League, so it's not like he's a small boy. I think he could address a lot of issues that Arsenal got right now. So yeah, I'm scared of that one.
I'm an Athletic fan. Athletic is my second team, so I've seen lots of Partey, and I was devastated to lose him. Even though I wouldn't necessarily say he was consistently in the starting 11 last year. He wasn't, but he's definitely massively an impact sub if you need him. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a squad player because he's of too much quality to be a squad player. But I'm absolutely devastated to lose him. But I do hope that he does well at Arsenal. I can't see it happening any other way because he's such a skillful player. As a midfielder, he's amazing going forward. I think last year, 45% of his passes went forward, which is amazing. And he can defend as well, because I remember last year one of our right backs got sent off and he ended up playing right back for 70 minutes. So yeah, I'm gutted about Partey, but I'm actually glad that he's got a chance to play in the Premier League and show what he can actually do.
Can I also mention another name? Yeah, the reason I didn't say this name is because we spoke about him earlier, and Mary said about him not being able to break into this starting 11. However, when United tapped up Van der Beek, I was fuming.
Yeah,
I was fuming. Anita knows Ajax is, if I have a second team, it's Ajax. And I've always very highly rated Van der Beek. His technical ability, his vision, the runs he makes. I was fuming when United signed him, but it softens the blow a bit on, I don't know if they're going to utilise him properly. However, yeah, that is just the name I wanted to throw out there. So, yeah.
But don't that make you angry, though? Because you know what quality he brings, and he's sitting there on the bench, and it's whoa.
Yeah. While Pogba's stinking the place out and Donny's on the bench, it's madness.
It's sad. It's always sad to see players that have so much ability and potential, and what's going on behind the scenes isn't working out, and they're just not getting the time on the pitch. Okay, so I'll definitely keep in mind everyone that's been mentioned today, and hopefully they will live up to expectation. I obviously mentioned about how much money had been spent in this window, considering coronavirus. Did just want to move on and talk about coronavirus a little bit, because even though it might be a little bit boring, I think that it's really affecting the fans at the minute, and us as fans of football should be able to speak out and be heard. And obviously this is what now these petitions are doing. So I want to talk about £15 to watch a game of football. Kendall, Mary, will you be paying that this weekend? And if not, why? Let's start with you, Mary.
Hell no. Absolutely not. I'll be finding other ways to watch this game. I wouldn't give them 15 pence, let alone £15. Do we not pay enough for Sky? Do we not pay enough for BT? And here you could pay €120 a month for these channels. They want to pay us to pay €17 for 90 minutes of football, where United could be absolutely shit and get beaten, and you're telling me I have to pay €17 for that? Get out! Absolutely not. You can take your €17 and shove it where the sun don't shine, because I ain't paying for that absolute scandal. How dare they? How dare they? Get out.
It's awful. Kendall, will you be watching? Will you be paying?
Absolutely not. The Newcastle fans have signed an initiative now where we're gonna donate the £15 to the food bank instead, rather than giving it to that scrappy little corrupt little weird Premier League. But yeah, absolutely not. I think it's diabolical in the circumstances that we're all under right now, especially as Newcastle United fans as well. Our season ticket money is still getting taken every month. So it's that's around we pay £60 a month for our season tickets, so it's we are paying that on top of Sky, which is 60 plus, on top of BT, which is around £20. So it's just absolutely shambles. I think it's tone deaf. I think it's disgraceful, because they know they're playing on the circumstances of the whole country right now, because they know that people are going to pay it because they have nothing else to do. And I think it's sad. And obviously, mental health is a massive thing in football, and football helps a lot of people with their mental health. It gives a distraction to people. And right now, making them pay to have that luxury in the current times that we're in, I think is an absolute disgrace. And I really hope that no one pays it, because then what are they going to do? They're going to have to like go back to the drawing board and rethink it all. So yeah.
Now, I think it's awful. I think it's terrible. People are already paying, like Mary said, so much money for Sky, BT, I mean, Amazon Prime. It's getting ridiculous. However, if we want to look at this from a different angle, fans of Championship, League One and League Two clubs are currently paying £10 for every game to be streamed on iFollow. Now, I've been watching on there, and the quality, it's just a camera at the top of a stand. It's not great. Do you not think that this £15 price tag, I don't think it should have happened anyway, but if they are going to do it, the £15 price tag is justified if you're then looking at these other EFL games, which are being streamed quite terribly for £10. For £15, you're getting it on Sky, on BT, you're getting great quality audio, visual. Do you think that it's justified and that it's a fair price tag because they were doing it? Anita, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm not really with the consensus. I'm not 100% against paying the £15. Firstly, I'm not 100%. I'm more like a 70% against it, 30% not, because I see the angle and I understand why. And of course, I work in like the business side of things, so I kind of understand like the revenue point of view of it. But like you said, like I pay for the £10 as well, and it is a bump. I won't even lie, like it's actually a crazy bump. But I think with the Premier League will definitely be a bit different for £15. I think the angle will be different 100% because they do have a reputation to keep. And the thing is, I think this is only happening around here. I'm not sure if it's happening nationally or if it's happening across the world. Sorry, and you got to think about it this way: the Premier League, they stream across the world, and the way they stream across the world is not just from one angle. Like if you go to Dubai and you watch the Premier League in Dubai, it's all from different angles. So I think that that's how it will be set out, as opposed to like the one angle in the top of the air, like how it was when Chelsea played Arsenal in Baku. Like that was absolutely horrible, terrible to absolutely watch. But yeah, I'm not 100% against it. I still think it's a robbery. They like robbery, but it depends on what they're putting the money back into.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Mal, if it came to it, if Tottenham are in a position where we have to pay the £15, would you be happy paying it from a perspective of, like Anita was just saying, that the money is being paid for a good reason? Football has to survive. Broadcasting rights have to survive. Or is your heart so much on the fact of this is immoral that you will continue to possibly stream games?
Isn't the money's going straight back into the clubs, isn't it? The proceeds of it. I feel like I saw that in an article. If the money goes into our club, I can't really see it being used adequately, so I will continue with my unsinful acts online watching.
Not at United. United aren't going to see none of that money, so I'm not giving the Glazers another penny of my money.
That's it.
Mental health, Kendall, you touched on it a little bit. Obviously you're a season ticket holder, you go to Newcastle a lot. It's a livelihood. It's something that people do. They work all week, they look forward to the weekend. That's what keeps them ticking, that's what keeps them going. That has been taken away from football fans for far, far, far too long. However, we know it's not safe to start filling football stadiums, but you've got to look at these videos that are surfacing of the Albert Hall and music venues and whatnot. Does something need to be done by the government? Because we have to start considering this mental health aspect. Fans are being taken away from the thing that they love most and the thing that might get them through the week. We don't know how many people are struggling at the minute because they can't go and meet with their friends and have a beer and get a pie on the weekend. how do you think it's affecting fans, and what can be done by the government? Yes, Kendall, let's go to you, because you brought it up about mental health.
I don't see the difference in people being packed inside an indoor venue like the Albert Hall compared to a certain number of fans at a safe distance in an outside environment, when they are solely focused on the fact that outside it's not as much of a risk necessarily to be passed on. So at first I was very dead set against I was just wait until it's safe to do so, which I am completely still on board with. But when you're seeing venues like the Albert Hall being filled, and then you're just looking at a football stadium that has way more capacity than the Albert Hall, it's as I say, it's an outside environment, then you do start to raise questions a little bit, and you wonder why you're not allowed to be back in the ground as a fan. The thing that bothers me the most, it's not even necessarily not being allowed in, it's just who would they let in? I don't know whether it'll be on sort of a ballot thing, or highest paying season ticket, or there's going to be an issue there regardless. So maybe it's easier just not to let anyone in, but I don't know, it raises questions when when you see people in venues like the Albert Hall and compared to a football ground, which is probably marginally more safer in an outside open air environment.
I mean, we've seen it being done in other countries now, which just sort of rubs salt in the wounds, I think, a little bit for us. Mary, I want to come to you, because playing at Old Trafford, it's well, not that I've done it, but I imagine it's an incredible thing to do. And for the players stepping out every week with, thousands of fans, it adds such a home advantage. Now, I'm sure, Kendall, you can appreciate that as a Newcastle fan as well. A team like Newcastle thrives off home advantage. But Old Trafford, it's an incredible stadium, and home advantage is key. You're not getting that now. How do you think that is affecting players?
Massively. They're not, half of them aren't even performing. The games 2 weeks ago, the 6-1 and the 7-2, we're going to see more games like them, because it's a funny season, and when the fans aren't in there to pressure players as well, to put the pressure on them to perform well and G them up, so it's one way or the other way, the players are just, for me, sometimes they look like they're going through the motions, especially my lads at Old Trafford, because there's nobody there. It's like a training game, and they're playing like it's a training game. So I think it's massively affecting. We saw City lose 5-2 to Leicester, Villa 7-2. I think these results are going to happen more and more, and it is, and there's no home and away advantage anymore. That's dead. That's gone. When we go to Newcastle tomorrow night, usually that you feel that when you go in there from all those Geordies in that stadium, but it's not. It just takes away. I know on Sky they have the little crowd noise and all that, but as a player in there, it's just, I suppose it's a bit like going through the motions, and I do find it is a little bit like a training game out there sometimes. So it's definitely having an effect on the results and on the players for me.
I don't want to pick on anyone, but if we do look at Paul Pogba and the performance that he displayed against Tottenham, and the performance that he has sometimes displayed recently, do you think that if there was an atmosphere, if he was at Old Trafford and the stadium was filled with 6,000 fans, he would be performing as, in my opinion, poorly as he is doing so?
Part of me says no, but then the other part, I've watched him for the last 4 years, and he's performed like this, like the majority of the time. I know Pogba FC are probably going to come for me, but he's not done it in a Man United shirt. He's had about 25 good performances in 4 seasons. Honestly, he bangs out 4 and 5 out of 10. Against Spurs, he banged out zeros. He's been banging out zeros. I've seen him absolutely in the gutter in performances. Honest to God, he's the biggest flop for me in a Man United shirt.
It's a big word. It's a big word.
Right up there.
He's
right up there with Sanchez for me. Sanchez, Di Maria, and Paul Pogba third in the absolute flops at Man United. So no, I don't think he's gonna. Crowds in the stadium wouldn't matter to Pogba. They've been in the stadium for 4 years, and he's been stinking it out for the last 4 years.
It's not really names you'd like necessarily associate with being flops either, is it? It's like decent players that have like just
No, because you see,
absolutely crap.
when he has one good game, those highlights are shown over and over and over again on Twitter. And Pogba FC are like, look what he's doing. He had a good pass and a good assist the other night for France, and it was like he was like Zidane in there. you know, it's absolutely ridiculous the way they hype him up. He's a flop for me, absolutely.
I do definitely think we are seeing certain individuals really, really being affected by not having the fans behind them. I know a lot of footballers thrive off playing on the wing, for instance, when they're next to the fans. They thrive off that, and you are definitely seeing certain individuals, e.g., in my opinion, Paul Pogba, especially in that Spurs game, where it's just showing a lot more than others. Mel, I know you wanted to touch on this project Big Picture. So it's all a bit of a mess for me. It's all a bit of a shambles. United and Liverpool have come together and proposed more power, basically, if we're going to put it lightly. What's your thoughts, Mel? I know you've been doing a little bit of research into this.
I don't disagree with every single proposal that was in that project. The £20 away tickets being capped, I agree with that, because there's been times I've spent give or take £100 on travel to away games. So I think that's good, along with the safe standing thing. I know that's a big thing in Germany. However, I feel like with the Glazers and FSG, this is just a big, big money grab, guised under the idea of saving English football. They say they want to give EFL, a gift or an aid of money. It's not. To me, that's a bribe. It's, okay, you take this, what is it, 250 million, and you give us all the power. They chose 9 teams to hold the power. So what was it originally? Any decisions made in the Premier League, each club gets 1 vote. So Arsenal's vote will hold just as much weight as Fulham's.
Yeah, you have to get a 14. I think it's a 14-team majority, isn't it, or something at the minute?
Yeah, and they need 14 to pass it. So now, to me, them choosing 9 teams was just to decorate. They didn't want it to look like they just cared about the top 6, especially because the majority that would be needed there is 6. So really and truly, that would be the top 6 that have the power.
Yeah.
All this would be doing is just extending the financial gap. I saw that. So if 6 to pass a majority, 6 clubs would be able to dictate. So let's say they see a new billionaire owner who wants to take over Sheffield United. The 6 clubs can look at it and say, no, he's a bit too rich, ain't he? No. And they can block the move. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. And if that was to have passed, our league would have turned into a joke. The one thing we love about the Premier League is the competitiveness of it.
Yeah.
Less, albeit being at Tottenham's expense, Leicester winning the league in 2015-16 was a fairy tale. We're not going to get any of that anymore. All this project is doing is just ensuring that the top 6 clubs do not get destabilised. So I think that's disgusting. I don't agree with scrapping the League Cup as well. That's okay. Some big clubs might see it as a bit of a hindrance because it congests the fixture schedule when some fans and clubs don't really care about the trophy.
Klopp hates the League Cup.
Klopp is a perfect example. But to me, I think that's a perfect way for bench players to get minutes under their belt, the youth to run out, and it's also something for the lower clubs, to have the opportunity to add in their cabinet. There are lower league clubs or lower teams in the table that, if we're being honest, they know they're not winning that title, or at least for a very long time. You can't take away something that would have added to their cabinet. Like, who won it in 2013, 2012? Swansea. That's probably the best day in their history. So for you to take that away from lower clubs, I don't agree with that at all. So that's my take on it.
I think COVID is definitely taking its effects on players, fans, clubs a lot. I just want to round off talking about this by bringing in a guest. Now, we've obviously spoke about how Premier League clubs and fans are being affected by this. Now, I just want to bring in Jordan here to the broadcast studio. Hello, Jordan.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can, yes. Jordan has agreed to do this show because he's my brother and he was not getting out of it. Jordan is a footballer for Gillingham in League One. He is doing really well, currently joint top goal scorer in League One on a really, really good run. But it means nothing, does it, Jordan, without the fans?
It doesn't, no. First of all, I wanted to say well done, everyone, for your opinions. I've been listening for the last 20 minutes, half an hour, actually. It's been really enjoyable. Some honestly, it took a lot of sense, a lot more sense than half my mates and teammates do, to be fair. So it's been enjoyable. No, it's been good. I've really enjoyed listening. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, but no, back to what you said, Mai. Regarding not having fans, no, it's not the same. No, it's a lot like a training game, to be honest. But it's kind of bittersweet because I remember when I was obviously in lockdown with you, and we used to speak about missing football and stuff. And I used to say, if we can just get back to playing. I mean, there was a time, I don't know if it was maybe April, May, I think, when it was kind of peak lockdown. And we didn't know when football was back. We didn't know if the season was going to finish. We didn't know if we were going to play again in 2020. We didn't know if even this was going to be a 2021 season. We had no idea. It was so new to us. And it was almost a case of, I remember going out for an hour run most days thinking, what am I running for here? Like, when is the football going to be back? What does the future hold? I mean, we had no idea. I don't think anyone did at the time. So I remember saying to myself, if football just comes back, I'll be over the moon. When there's no fans for the next 10 years, if we can just get back to playing football and people watching football on the TV, it's something. Because that's how I genuinely felt in April, May time. I mean, I felt there was days where there would maybe not be football again for years. So now, I mean, it's almost a case of really beggars can't be choosers, because we're back. You get to watch football on TV. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I might play football, but I miss Premier League football as much as anyone does. I'm a United fan, and for me, I didn't know when I was going to get to see Man United play again. So, I mean, I can't really sit here and complain too much, because we're back to soccer Saturdays, and we're back to Saturday night football and Monday night football and going everything in Carragher, and what we all miss. But it comes to a point now, I think, where people are kind of saying, where are the fans? I think I was listening earlier to when Kendall was talking about the Albert Hall being packed in. It's just ridiculous to me. It's starting to get me really frustrated, actually, when I see things like that. I mean, I don't mind there being no fans if there's no fans in the Albert Hall, but when I'm seeing things like that and I'm watching England play Denmark in a 90,000 seat stadium and they're telling me they can't put 30% capacity in, it's ludicrous. Yeah. So I think they need to be careful with what they're doing now, because a lot of the decisions people are going to start, getting irate with, because it's silly. I think if there were no one allowed into theatres and cinemas and productions, then I don't think people would mind too much. But I think the Albert Hall thing's kind of pushed people over the edge a little bit. So it isn't fun playing in no, especially for me. I think I've scored more goals since there's been no fans than I have in my whole career. So I'm kind of sliding on my own at the moment.
I was going to say that, actually. You're obviously a player I know who thrives off doing, these mad skills on the touchline and fans going mad, and that does something for your mental health. It makes players feel good when they've got the fans behind them. Do you feel like personally it's starting to get to a point now where you're like, what am I doing this for? Yes, okay, I leave the pitch and I've got all these messages on Twitter, but where's the fun in that?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. Especially for me. A lot of my game is to excite people. I'll try random things on the pitch, random tricks, non-stop step overs. I live to excite people. I think even when I was a kid, when I was in the academies at Villa and stuff, and when I first went to Wolves, even when I used to play academy games, I used to just live to impress my parents and the people on the sideline. I just wanted to get people off their seats and have fun. And, being a player that lives for people to get off the seats, playing in a stadium where there's no one in the seats, is a little bit unenjoyable. But like I said, I mean, it's hard because I keep referring to where I was in April time, and I'm just happy to be back playing. I feel blessed. I feel lucky right now, because there was days when I didn't know when this would be possible. So I'm grateful that I'm able to do it week in, week out at the moment. But I certainly want the fans back ASAP, because it kind of takes the excitement and the enjoyment factor really out of having fun. And I think that's what football's about. You know, I started to play football to have fun, and I play because I like putting on a show for people to watch. And when there's no one there to watch it, I know you can hear these fake crowd noises in the background. It's not what I know.
I just wanna round off by, obviously, before you hopped on, we had Mel talking about this project Big Picture, and for the EFL clubs, it doesn't seem like the worst deal in the world. You know, an injection of an upfront payment along with a much bigger % share of revenue in football. As a player in League One, however much more power, however more money you're given, it still is dehumanizing the concept of why we love football, the shared power. I just want to get your opinion on whether you'd prefer to have money injected into your league, more share in revenue, or would you rather say no? You know, it's awful. Let's keep things how they are. We don't mind. We will survive. There'll be other ways for us to survive, but we'd prefer football to stay as it is.
Yeah, it's a good point Mel was making. And actually, when I was her analogy on the Sheffield United takeover part and the top six having all the power is not. I just don't think it's fair. I actually think the whole thing is a bit of a scandal, really. I think it's just ludicrous. When I look back, I mean, I was watching an interview the other day with Gary Neville about it, and Gary Neville was saying, I mean, there's been £1.2 billion spent on transfers this window during a pandemic, and it's took them this long to sort a £50 million financial package for the rest of the leagues. I just find it a disgrace. A disgrace. The Premier League is full of money. It's so rich. The owners have so much money. They spend so much money on transfers, and I think a lot of the problem is a lot of the owners are obviously not English, and it's not, you know, they're not grassrooted, and it doesn't come from within them to be looking after people like Berry and to be looking after people like Macclesfield, and it's not necessarily in their interest. But as fans of the Premier League and as fans of football, people that live in the United Kingdom, I think that something had to have been sorted, and there has to be a way to sort this situation out without the top six teams having all the power. I can't. I'm no expert. I mean, it's not really my field, but the amount of money that gets spent in these transfer windows in the Premier League every year. I mean, the staggering stat was the £1.2 billion spent in a pandemic, and it's like we can spend that money, but we can't sort out 100 odd million for the rest of the leagues to be secure for years and years and years. And I think the more we speak about it, this is why I'm proud of you all on here talking what you're talking. You know, I think this is all we can do, is generate conversation, social media conversations. The more Gary Neville speaks about it, the more people come online and give their opinion, the more people tweet, the more people Insta, the more I think convo sparks change. And I think even Rashford's stuff with the food going into the schools and stuff during the holidays. I think the power of social media now, I mean, to think he's got an MBE from speaking up on social media, it's outrageous. It's become such a big thing. So the more we can do, the more we speak about topics like this, it pressurizes people to make decisions. There's a lot of people high up in power that don't want to make the decisions that we see as clear and obvious. And sometimes it takes these things to push them to be like, okay, I mean, the Marcus thing is a perfect example, using this platform like that to make a change. And I feel like the more we speak about it on here, and you can get on Twitter and get on socials and do interviews with people and push things and push conversations, hopefully we'll eventually get to we'll get to a sensible decision where everyone can be looked after without this project Big Picture. There's got to be a better way to do it for me.
Well, it's been very refreshing, I think, and I'm sure a lot of people agree to hear it from somebody who's going through this, who is suffering from, you know, the effects of no fans in stadiums, and then an EFL League One player. Just before we let you go, George, there's been some comments. Jordan Graham to United, Jordan Graham to replace Timo Werner at Chelsea. You're gonna nick a move to the Prem, I hear, Jordan, in January.
Possibly. Listen, but for me, it's only Man United. The Timo Werner one can relax, man. The Timo Werner one can relax. On this chat, I'm Mary FC, and that's it. The rest of you, I'm sorry, man, but I'm not here.
Listen, George, thank you very much. It's been great having you on.
Thank you very much. Enjoy,
Good luck in your game
care.
tomorrow. See you later.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, good luck.
Bye.
So, girls, nice little intervention there from a male. Always nice to have not just a male perspective, of course, but somebody who actually is, like I said, who's going through it. Now, I don't really want to chat about COVID too much longer because it is very, very, very boring and annoying. So let's move on to something which I think is going to be very interesting. I believe I heard Anita talking about this earlier, possibly on her Gold Diggers. I'm not too sure. Best attack in the league. Now, I know that we could throw a lot of people in there, throw a lot of teams. And I do want to look, first of all, overall, you haven't have had to see them play together yet. Just going solely on individual players together. Who has the best attack in the league, Mary?
I like the disclaimer there, Maya.
So currently, because I know what some of you are going to say, so I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say Everton currently. Rodriguez, Richarlison, and Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin goal scorer machine at the minute. 6 goals, and James getting all those assists. Richarlison getting involved there as well. They're unbeaten at the minute. A very tough game tomorrow. Let's see what they're made of. But currently, right now, they're top of the league. The lads are doing it for them. I'm going to say Everton, but overall, again, I actually can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Chelsea. I'm going to say Werner, Ziyech and Havertz, while they haven't really gelled quite yet. 60 goals and 48 assists last season from them is absolutely frightening. Ziyech, when he comes in, he got something like 18 assists last season. The man is going to do a madness. Werner only needs 1 and his confidence, he'll start going in. Havertz, unbelievable player, still only young as well, but Werner
Anita's head right now is like,
but if I had them, like if I had spent 100 million on a 22-year-old wonder kid, scored the other night for Germany, scored a hat-trick as well in the League Cup. So I mean, they look frightening if they can all gel. I would love to say my Man United boys that did get 62 goals combined last season for the 3 of them, but we're in dire form and we're in disarray. So I'm going to say overall, sadly, the Chelsea lads, currently Everton.
So, Anita, what you make of that?
She's so smug.
I mean, Mary said it all, isn't it? I am really gassed right now. I'm feeling more confident in my boys than I was like 2 days ago, bro. But on paper, it's definitely Tottenham. Definitely Tottenham.
It hurt you to say that, didn't it?
But I'm so sorry. I hate Tottenham with all my heart, as a Chelsea fan. I hate them. But Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, and Son, oh man, we're going to be in for a nightmare. And if it's true that Eriksen wants to come back and Eriksen comes back in Jan, we're all finished. Like, we're actually like, honestly. I'm saying Tottenham. I think I can't put Liverpool in there. Even though,
why not?
I think on paper, I can't. Obviously, like, they're amazing front 3 right now, and like, in general, they would be the number 1 top 3. But on paper, you've still got Firmino there as your number 9. So no, I can't. What is that? I can't put them in there. I think Tottenham and Chelsea. Yeah, for sure. On paper, Tottenham and Chelsea.
Okay, Mel, what are you thinking?
We know what she's gonna say.
I was gonna say Chelsea would have been on my radar, but we saw our B team saw a tiny glimpse of them in the League Cup, and I was not impressed in the slightest.
We weren't all fit.
All right, I'll give you that. Overall, I'm going to say Liverpool. As much as I feel like a lot of people don't like to give them their credit, I can't, argue what they've done as an attack. Currently, I'm going to say Tottenham. And I say that when Bale hasn't even been added to the team yet. Even just
say it with chest.
With my chest. And I hope this doesn't backfire on me. But I know it's only 4 games in, but we've seen with Son and Kane alone, they've registered the most shots on target, the most shots. I think there's a few more, but I can't remember off the top of my head. So the way they're working together, Kane dropping deep to be able to feed Son these balls now, which is something that, by the way, people say Kane couldn't do, just saying. They've, already been on fire, let alone, I feel like you were one of them, Anita. But yeah, and then to add Bale to that, again, as I said, if he can keep injury free, I think that could be scary.
I think we can't obviously discredit Liverpool for what they've achieved with that front three, but looking like for like player on player, and I'm not talking stats because let's forget that. If we are just talking about each player and what we know, if we're comparing Kane and Firmino, Mane, let's say Son, whichever way you want to switch it, I think Tottenham edge that for me. And that ends, not to discredit what Liverpool have achieved, but player on player, I do think Tottenham win that. Now, Kendall, and outside, as much as you might be itching to say Newcastle from an outside perspective, for you as a Newcastle fan, let's put it this way: who would you be most afraid of facing going into a game, dependent on that front three?
Well, obviously, we've already played Tottenham, and realistically, if you want to go technical, obviously maybe should have only been 1-0. But so obviously I would have probably said them if we hadn't already played them. So knowing what happened there. So for me now, who I'm more scared of is 100% Everton, because a team like Everton against a team like us, that has potential to be very terrible for us. So yeah, definitely Everton I'm worried about coming up against. I think Chelsea, in terms of depth of forwards, they have one of the strongest depths of forwards for me, because obviously they've got people like Abraham, they've got obviously Hudson-Odoi, they've got Pulisic. So I think for depth of forwards, definitely Chelsea for me, because you, as a Chelsea fan, you probably, Anita, will agree, you're not sort of worried as to who comes in as a forward. You've got strong backup there. You haven't just got squad players, you've got decent backup there. So I think now I'm worried about Everton, because Carlo Ancelotti can turn over a manager like Steve Bruce like that. So worried about Everton, but definitely Chelsea for depth and the amount of forwards that they have.
Now, we haven't even touched on City here. City for me,
I even forgot. Sorry.
The comments haven't. The comments didn't forget.
Not let us forget.
Sorry, guys.
Let's talk about City here, because for me, City will be challenging for the title this season. So how have we not even considered them in our most dangerous front three? Mary, I'm going to go to you because this might be interesting. What do you think about their attacking options in general? Obviously, we've got the likes of Aguero, who's not fit yet. So considering all fit options, why are they not considered in this debate?
They should be, but they when they're all fit, they're frightening. Sterling, Aguero, still a goal scoring machine. Even Jesus coming in there. De Bruyne, for me, the best midfielder in the Premier League, absolute monster, goal scoring, assist King. Then they have their bench like Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, their strength and depth. Phil Foden looks like he's really going to do it in a City shirt. But for me, the thing is, they can't stay fit. They're already without Aguero. De Bruyne again, questionable. Sterling, questionable. Gabriel Jesus as well out. So their fitness for their forward line is what made me not pick them in this. All fitting on their day, they're one of the best in the Premier League, if not the best. Frightening. They do have strength and depth, but when you're missing Aguero, I think you're missing a massive part there. They don't really have anyone then, like you could say, like even Chelsea, with Abraham and if Werner is not fit, they'd have him, they'd have Hudson-Odoi, they'd have Pulisic, they have strength and depth. Whereas City, if they're missing Aguero, I think then, it's a massive problem. I think they should have signed a striker in the summer and they didn't.
100%. We've seen them play in sometimes Mahrez through the middle in these latter games. It's just not been working for them so well. They obviously didn't go and buy a striker. They're suffering a bit now. I'm very intrigued to what this weekend will hold for City. But I do think that, like Mary said, all fit and in contention for an 11th place, they will be a very, very scary side. But it will be a case, I believe, of keeping them fit.
Unfortunately, I'm probably going to get slaughtered for this in the comments, but I'm not scared of City anymore. I think
as a team, or
as a head-to-head.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, I think after the Champions League, we just broke them because I don't think they've actually beat us since. And I just think, and that wasn't even when we were at a strong period. So, if we can break them down, come on. You know what I mean?
I feel that City is definitely one of those hit or miss, slippery teams. On their day, when KDB is performing, especially, they look unreal. But whether we're going to see that consistently this season, time will tell. I just want to round off this really, really amazing first episode, girls, just by talking about what we have in store this weekend. I'm going to start with let's start with Newcastle United, just because we've got two of our fans on here tonight. Kendall, do you think you're going to win this game?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, comfortably,
I do.
or
I think right now, as I said,
Straight in there.
I think that it's doable this time. Obviously, depending on how United go and set up, if they start playing Maguire, then it could be sticky with a player like St. Maximin and Wilson on goal to go through. I am quite hopeful this for the first time in quite a while that will kick on and do all right. I think we're on pretty much good form at the minute. 7 points, can't really complain. So yeah, I think we'll win. I think it'll be close, and if we don't win, I think it'll be a very close draw. I think 2-2, 2-1 Newcastle. Yeah, definitely 100%.
Mary, what are you thinking?
Absolutely not. We're going to stop this one. 4-0 FC is coming back. 4-0 FC is coming back. We're going to hammer them because, do you know what? If we don't, we cannot be 7 points behind Newcastle. There's after this game if we lose. It cannot happen. We're already 16th. We cannot be. Against Steve Bruce Newcastle. This is a 96th Newcastle. It's Steve Bruce's Newcastle. We cannot be in the relegation zone after this game. We need a response after that Spurs mauling. 4-0 FC has come back. We're going to smash them. We're going to do it.
What changes do you think will be made, Mary?
Maguire is out. I think Maguire today, Ollie has kind of said he has a knock. For me, that means he's going to take him out. Yeah, he has to take him out because his head's gone for me at the minute, and it's kind of cruel in there right now having him in there because it's just, you cringe when you watch him play because he's lost all his confidence in his footballing ability. He can't even head a ball. He can't even control a ball right now. So he has to come out. For me, I would take, and again, the comments are going to come in for me because they didn't like my Pogba rant, but he has to come out, absolutely. And Donny, the Don has to come in for me as well. Change of formation, 5 at the back, Tellez has to start. Not sure he will, but definitely those two need to come out. Absolutely.
Mel, Anita, from an outside perspective, especially Mel after our victory over Manchester United, for me, that did not look like we were playing Manchester United. I don't know who it looked like we were playing, but but it didn't look like, you know, this incredible historic team. It looked like I can't even describe it. So for me, I do feel like unless drastic changes are made, then United have a problem tomorrow. Mel, what do you think?
I agree with that, but I do feel like also Man United going through a bad spell. It doesn't happen for long. I feel like it will be one of them games where they just unexpectedly seem like they've come back again. However, we know the Longstaff's like troubling them, so who knows? I don't know. I genuinely don't know what I think about this.
We've just had a comment come in here. I just want to address this. I'll send this to you, Anita. Ruben Dias, centre back at Man City. We know that Man City had some problems. Obviously, we've had Nathan Ake come in as well. Will their problems be solved?
Well, no. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I think it's more than just the centre backs. Like, let me breathe. There's just not much more I can say about City. I just feel like there's so many more problems with City. I think they need a DM. I think they need Laporte to be fit week in, week out. I don't know why my computer seems to be feedbacking a lot. I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, they need Laporte to be fit week in, week out. The only person that can save that defense is Laporte. I'm so sorry. No, not Ruben Diaz. What the hell? No.
I think it'll be interesting, definitely, to see.
That's as straight as I can give it.
To see the two of them starting to play together, because I agree, Laporte is so solid when fit, at the back for City, and if they can get that working, then I think that will solve so many of City's problems. Let's move on to City. City play Arsenal this weekend. I'll send this to Mel, being a Tottenham fan. We never want to see Arsenal do well, but do they have a chance this weekend against City?
No.
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 Why not?
Say that with my chest. No. I honestly think City are going to destroy them. Again, this is something that will bite me in the arse. I know. Every time I see Arsenal fans go into a game confident, I've seen quite a few confident about this game. It never goes well for them. Whose stadium is it at? I haven't even checked.
Cities.
Is that Cities? Yeah, City.
Apologies. Yeah, it's at Cities.
It'll be interesting to see if Partey gets his run out. I'm sure he will. I doubt he'll start. Maybe come off the bench, but yeah, City are taking that.
It's nuts. I don't agree, you know. Yeah. Nah, I think Arsenal's gonna take it. Honestly, I think Arsenal's gonna take it. I've been underestimating them all season, and it's been biting me in my bum. I'm telling you, they've been playing really well on the counter, so they're gonna sit back. They're gonna let Pep do whatever he wants to do with his boys, and no striker. He's gonna sit back, hit him with a counter, done out. I promise you, Aubameyang's gonna score.
I definitely think that Arsenal have been building. Arteta has been doing the business he wants to do. Was building last season, but I don't think they were quite there.
The problem with them is their creativity, I think.
Thank you. I was told Arsenal fans, they need Aura more than they need Party at the minute. They call me mad. You need creativity. Sorry.
I think it will be a close game. I think it depends on a lot about the starting lineups. And it does pain me, but I think I will go with Arsenal for this game myself personally. Anita, let's stay with you. Southampton.
I expect a 4-0 win from Chelsea. I expect Werner brace, Havertz to have an assist and a goal, and Tammy Abraham to come on and knock in a goal, 80th, 88th minute, something like that. 4-0. Yeah, I expect VAR to not be in our favour. Dish out a penalty to Southampton, but our new goalie saves it if he's back. However, if Kepa's in goal, maybe a 3-2. Either way, we get the
interest.
Southampton's goalkeeper's been pretty good, and he's been pretty on form as well, McCarthy. So
yeah.
It don't matter. It doesn't matter. Nope. I have so much confidence here. After this break, I've had so much confidence, especially in Werner and Havertz. Like, watching them link up for Germany, I was like, play their normal position. They can do a madness for Chelsea. And if that happens on Sunday, 4-0 minimum.
Okay, well, I'll be coming to find you if Chelsea do not secure 4 goals on Sunday. Let's move to Tottenham. Tottenham play West Ham. West Ham in good form, really good form. They look good for West Ham, let's say. However, so do Tottenham. I feel like this is a comfortable victory for Tottenham. I'm not sure about what you think, Mel, but I expect no less than a win.
I think it's crazy that 10 minutes ago I just said I'm not scared of City, and I'm about to sit here and say I'm scared of West Ham. But it makes sense for us. Us being West Ham's biggest rival and all that, they thrive on making our football lives hell, and also them being in great form right now. I don't think it's good. I think we can take the win. I don't think it's going to be a hammering, no pun intended. But I hope Bale gets a run out, because we all know Bale's iconic goal against West Ham, and I know he's the one West Ham are hoping don't have a run out. But yeah, no, I think we can take it, but it's not going to be a big scoreline.
Okay, now I wanted to just finish off by talking about, for me, the game that I'm most looking forward to this weekend, and that is our early kickoff, Merseyside derby.
Right.
Now, this to me would probably not be a game that I'd look forward to a great amount, but with the form that Everton are in, I am so looking forward to this game. I'll come to you, Kendall. As you said, you thought that Everton had the strongest attack in the league. Liverpool's defence, one of the strongest in the league, if not the strongest. What do you think the outcome will be?
I think it's going to be a really good game. As you said, like prior to this, I wouldn't really be bothered about watching it, to be honest. But I think now, Everton are kicking on with their form and they've got a few decent players in. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Obviously, we can see that Liverpool's defence, they can crumble at times. Obviously, Villa game, we know that it can happen. So I don't think it's out of Everton's hands whatsoever. Just depends if obviously, there's been talks and there's been training in the international break with Liverpool and deciding what goes on. But yeah, I think it'll be a very, very interesting game. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure who's going to win that one at all.
Mary, what do you think?
I think, sadly, I think Everton are going to choke again. They haven't won a Merseyside derby in 19 attempts, not since 2010. The only time they ever do anything is getting in all draws, and they bottle it. So Everton need to go out and pretend they're playing Man United, because when they play us, they turn into prime Barcelona. So I need them to pretend they're playing us instead of Liverpool and go out there and smash them. Sadly, I think we're going to see a reaction to that 7-2 absolute shambles that Liverpool had. And history tells me that even though Everton are in great form and they've not lost a game, I think, sadly, this is... I hope they win. I'm going to be shouting for the Toffees, but no, sadly, I think Liverpool will do it.
I think it will be a really, really, really good game. I'm just going to read out some comments that we've had come in. This one, just whilst we're still on you, Mary. What do you make of this? Drop Maguire, Pogba and Bruno. Some big shouts there. What do you think?
Absolutely, speaking my language. And I would play Fred too. I would drop Matic, because Matic is like an old man out there. He might as well bring out the Zimmer frame because he can't get around the pitch. Absolutely I drop him. I would play Fred and Van der Beek and give Mengi a go, because Mengi can't do worse than Maguire and Lindelof and Bailly in there. So throw the kid in and see what he can do.
Do you know what? I love it. I love the passion, Mary. I really do. We've got another comment in here. This is an interesting one. Sean Dyche and Chris Wilder, are they elite despite style? Now, I don't really enjoy watching Burnley. Don't know about you lot. I don't enjoy watching Chef. I don't think that it's enjoyable football, especially this season. Sometimes we see, well, especially last season, we saw them doing okay, but this season it's not looking great. Kendall, as a supporter of a team outside the top six, what do you make of the style of play of these two teams?
Well, I think like the problem with managers like Sean Dyche, particularly over Chris Wilder, because obviously Chris Wilder hasn't had a substantiated time in the Premier League yet. Things happen, like look at Eddie Howe. He was very comfortable, you know, for a long time, 6 years after they got promoted, well, 6 seasons or whatever it was. And look what happened at the end. Being comfortable wasn't enough in the, you know, the times of football that are continuously being modernized. Tactics are coming into play more. There's certain styles of play, like obviously, you know, they say Pep Guardiola style of play. Teams like Burnley, example, yeah, same as Newcastle, like we just play it's very old-fashioned dinosauric, is that even a word? I just made it up, even if it's dinosauric football, like just classic defensive football and then counter-attack on the break sometimes. So yeah, for me, being comfortable and being steady and very defensive just isn't enough sometimes, and you do get caught out eventually. So I wouldn't necessarily say they were elite managers at all, even though they're comfortable. I just think they're decent managers with old-fashioned tactics, exactly like Steve Bruce.
I just want to talk about Chris Wilder, because I thought that Chef were, considering circumstance, great last season. However, I don't even know where they're sitting at the minute. Bottom, second from bottom, they're low, and they don't look half the team that they looked last season. Anita, what do you make of Chef this season and where they've come from and now where they are?
I think. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I put earphones in. Okay, fantastic. I think it's just a case of momentum. Like a lot of people, they underestimate how far a team can go and how far they can play at the top level. Like it's always a case of momentum, in my opinion. Sheffield United, I don't think they have the players to keep that momentum going for a long period of time. But yeah, they did really well last season. Yeah, 100%. But this season, they're really going to show that, you know, you're in the big leagues now and you need to either re-up your players or change your style of play. And if you keep playing the same repetitive type of football, one, teams are going to catch you out. Teams are going to understand the way you're playing. And two, they're going to get tired. And that's exactly what I'm seeing happening now. They look tired.
That's what I said about Aston Villa last season. You know, when they first kicked off, everyone really thought Aston Villa was going to do bits. But then, you know, as they adapted into the league, time's gone on, they've just dropped. And I feel like the same thing's happening to Sheffield. Like Anita said, it's the momentum. Yeah, I agree.
100%. Ladies, I feel like this has been a really, really fun first show. And I cannot wait to do this at the same time next week. There'll be lots more to discuss after this weekend. I will be dragging Anita back. If Chelsea do not score 4 past Southampton, I will be dragging her back. I'm really, really excited for the football that we've got on this weekend, especially after that horrible international break. So we will be back, everyone, at the same time next week, 7 p.m. We will be rounding up the football from the weekend to come. We will be hammering Anita if Chelsea do not win 4-0. I want nothing less. I want this team over and a brace. I want Tammy to come off the bench and score. I want it all. But before we go, just plug yourself, plug your Twitter, your Insta, whatever you want. We'll start with Mary.
I have an all-female, all Manchester United fan channel on YouTube, She Devils United. Go and subscribe to us and follow me on Twitter at Mary She Devil UTD.
Kendall?
Yeah, I've got similar to Mary. I am on Steve Wraith's Ladies Night on a Monday. That's just Newcastle based, but we do talk about general football topics as well. All female panel as well. But yeah, I'm just at Kendall Rowan on everything apart from on Twitter. It's got an X on because some pagan has took my Kendall Rowan and I can't use it. But yeah, just Kendall Rowan as it says on the screen.
Anita?
Neeks
needs to get off my back.
He's been in the
Get off
comments.
my back. Don't mind him. Neeks, you ain't got nothing better to do. Oh, no, I'm playing. Love you, Neeks. Yeah, I'm at Flown _ on Instagram and Twitter. Obviously follow at Gold Diggers UK on Instagram as well, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Gold Diggers UK.
Mel?
I have a YouTube channel which I predominantly focus on Spurs, which is Sabalos TV, and my Twitter is there. Sabalos, but the L's are actually capital I's. And can I just make it clear, Sabalos is actually my surname. It has nothing to do with Ceballos at Arsenal. Thank you.
Talk about unlucky.
I've been seeing so many tweets about it today. I was just like, what?
And it's been hell. She's ruined my life.
Right, ladies, thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, do what you need to do. We will be back next Friday at 7 o'clock. So will Anita, because I don't see Chelsea scoring 4 past Southampton. Ladies, I'm ready. Ladies, thank you very much, and thank you everybody for watching. Good night.